With the release of Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 264, fans have been absolutely going insane, and it's for no other reason than the introduction of Yuji Itadori's domain expansion. Before the release of Chapter 264, fans including myself have been speculating on Yuji's curse technique and even his domain expansion. Unfortunately, I think a day or two before Chapter 264 leaked online, I ended up releasing a video explaining what Yuji's curse technique could be, and my timing could not have been any worse because within 2 days of that video dropping, Yuji's domain expansion was revealed. So what exactly is Yuji's new power and what does it mean for his battle against Sukuna? In this video, I'm going to delve deep into the details of Yuji's domain expansion, as well explore the potential abilities that it possesses and the implications that this may have on the wider story of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, this isn't just a typical domain expansion, it's the reveal of the main character's ultimate technique. It is a major development within the plot which will have lasting consequences. So be sure to stick around until the very end of this video, as I'll be breaking down and explaining absolutely everything that we know about Yuji's domain. A lot of theories about Yuji's domain expansion revolve around the potential mechanics of his domain as well as the symbolism that it may hold, with some popular theories thinking that his domain could serve as a space that heals or purifies individuals, which is contrasted against Sukuna's malevolent shrine. So it could be that Yuji's domain expansion may be able to change the nature of souls as well as memories that are tied to individuals, thus allowing him to possibly influence the actions or state of mind of Sukuna. Chapter 264 begins with Hana's Jacob's ladder shining down upon Sukuna. Yuji assists Hana by punching and destroying the ground beneath Sukuna as the pillar of light shines down onto him, but Hana realizes that Sukuna is climbing upwards as he endured the purifying light of Jacob's ladder. With Hana having lost her arm, her output has been considerably weakened, as Sukuna jumps behind her as he charges up cursed energy in his fist as he gets ready to kill her. But Todo intervenes and blocks the punch, which triggers a black flash, which earns Sukuna's respect as he recognizes Todo as a true sorcerer. The fallout of the attack knocks both Todo and Hana unconscious, as Sukuna now focuses on Yuji, as Yuji appears to be right behind him as he is chased him through Jacob's ladder. Yuji punches Sukuna in the face before he grabs his legs and slams him through a building. Yuji fires a cleave towards Sukuna, which he dodges, as he then launches a dismantle at him, but Yuji evades the attack. But unfortunately, he ends up being punched by Sukuna's left hand. With Sukuna having struck 2 black flashes, he has now restored his reverse curse technique output, thus allowing him to restore his missing hands. Sukuna now finds it unnecessary to make any dangerous moves as he relentlessly continues to attack Yuji as he waits for his curse technique to recover. Yuji then activates Cleave and crumbles the ground beneath Sukuna, as he then tries to land a dismantle against him, but he misses and hits the wall behind him. In this truly desperate moment, Yuji recalls Gojo teaching him about domain expansions, back when he had seen Jogo's Coffin of the Iron Mountain. Yuji then proceeds to form a hand sign and expands his own domain, and this is thanks to his replacement training that he had done with Kusakabe, which had taught him the fundamentals of barrier techniques. With his domain having been expanded, Yuji and Sukuna awaken within a train station-like environment, as Sukuna takes on the physical appearance back when Yuji was his vessel, and Yuji appears to be as he did before hosting Sukuna in his body, as he smiles and tells Sukuna to get ready, and this is the end of chapter 264. It's an absolutely insane chapter, and we've just had leaks for chapter 265 drop. So thanks to Miyamura on Twitter, we learned that chapter 265 is called That Day. So according to the spoilers for chapter 265, both Sukuna and Yuji are strolling through a city as Sukuna realizes what's happening with him. A rare phenomenon is occurring which enables Yuji to connect with a sorcerer that he is facing off against. Sukuna asks if this is Yuji's domain, as Yuji says that he wanted to talk with Sukuna for a bit. Is Yuji's domain expansion talk no jutsu like Naruto Naruto. So Sukuna says, what is this? Is this really your domain? Yuji tells him to shut up as he says, I was desperate, so I don't even know what this is. He continues to say, I wanted time to talk to you, so come on, let's talk for a bit. As they go through an underground passage, Yuji begins to tell Sukuna about his childhood. He says that I was born in Sendai, but I lived around here when I was 6 or 7 years old until I moved back to Sendai because of my grandfather's work. He explains how they had returned after 10 years in order to attend one of his grandfather's friend's funeral. He wouldn't say that there was a huge drop in the population, but he says that he was still surprised, as he wonders if that guy would have come to attend the funeral if his grandfather had died first. Sukuna is just speechless to Yuji's yap session. Yuji then takes Sukuna to a park where he had used to play, as he tells him that all of the play equipment is gone, but when he got his leg stuck in the swing, he had thought that he was going to die. As he continues to explain stories from his childhood linked to the places that they are visiting, as he goes on to tell Sukuna that he dropped his slime in the sand here and he tried to wash the sand off of the slime in the sink, but he ended up crying when all of the slime had went down the drain. Yuji then notices a flower and says that it is a asagao flower. Sukuna corrects him and tells him that it's a ajisai. Yuji goes on to explain how he had noticed that once he moved to Sendai, these ajisai flowers had grown a lot here, as he then wonders who decides what type of trees appear on the streets. Yuji is surprised that Sukuna had even known the names of flowers, and honestly I just have to say, it's just really strange seeing the two of them talk like this. Has he literally forgotten that this man has killed his friends and he's casually talking about flowers here? Sukuna says that he probably knows about the flowers thanks to the memories of Megumi. Then Yuji realizes that Sukuna must know about all of these places since he was in Yuji's body, but Sukuna quickly responds by telling him that he doesn't waste his time reading useless memories. So Yuji takes Sukuna to catch some crawfish as he asks Sukuna to try, taunting him, wondering if the strongest sorcerer is unable to catch a crawfish. Sukuna tells him to shut up as he catches one, but then they begin to fight about who had caught a better crawfish. Sukuna tells him that his is smaller, but Yuji responds by telling Sukuna that his is a American crawfish while he had caught a Japanese one, and apparently Japanese crawfish are much rarer. Yuji and Sukuna then fight over who had caught a better fish, as the scene then shifts to Yuji talking about a department store which had opened when he was like 5 years old. He explains how all of the independent stores had gone out of business thanks to this department store. He goes on to explain how he is upset that the shopping district is full with stores with their shutters down, but in the end he had forgiven the department store because they had included a movie theater upstairs. Yuji explains how it's an overall grey countryside, but if you move away a bit from the city then there's a lot of greenery, so there's nothing to worry about. But Sukuna says that he wasn't worried about anything from the get-go. So the tour of Yuji's domain, the yappening, continues as he takes Sukuna to a field as he tells him to look, explaining how it's as everyone says. It's green as far as the eye can see. He goes on to explain how he had used to catch a lot of locusts within the rice fields, but he doesn't see them around lately, as he wonders if pesticides have evolved a lot since he was a child. This is just so random. So he goes on to say that horses are great, no matter how many times I see them, their heads always seem bigger than I remember, explaining how his grandfather used to take him to this farm from time to time. As he thinks back on it, he really does feel like his grandfather had done things for him as if he was his real parent. The location then shifts as Yuji says that the ice cream here was so good that he had used up all of his allowance on the ice cream and he had eaten so much that he ended up throwing up. Sukuna, just being a pure hater, tells him that he didn't even have a brain from back then. So Yuji then turns that attention towards doing some archery. Yuji and Sukuna then play archery and Sukuna shoots a perfect 10. As Sukuna explains how he is more experienced than him, Yuji says, well, this makes sense, as Sukuna is from an era when archery was very common. So it then begins to snow and Yuji tells Sukuna about the time when he had used to shovel snow in the morning, along with how he loved drinking hot milk tea. Yuji talks about how during one Christmas he once heard the sound of bells at night and had believed that Santa had truly existed, only to find out that it was the sound of some chains on a car. Sukuna then gets fed up of Yuji talking as he just tells him to get to the point already. Yuji says that he thinks that he's already shown him what he wanted to show him, as Sukuna Sukuna comments on whatever Yuji has done here being very messy and disgusting. Yuji says that he used to think until recently that understanding and fulfilling his role is what it means to be alive. And if he were to die fulfilling his role, then he could truly say that he died doing the right thing. But now he feels conflicted about this. He says that your role can be really anything, like walking the dog or nurturing your family. He goes on to say whether if you eat, go to the bathroom and sleep, or if you're bedridden with illness, or even if your life is not connected with anyone else and you leave nothing behind, he explains that the value of a person's life lies in the fragments of memories that float somewhere, even if they're smaller than the memories that shape a person. Yuji says he has no problem with the way that people die, he just can't forgive those who act as if the value of someone's life does not exist. He then tells Sukuna that he doesn't like him. He goes on to say that humans are not tools. Their roles within the world are not determined from the day they are born. He doesn't know whether if you're truly human, if you're entirely good or bad. Yuji says that he just wanted Sukuna to know about the value that is derived from the lives of others, because the only thing that Sukuna cares about is himself. Sukuna reaffirms this by saying that he doesn't feel anything. Sukuna explains that he understands everything that Yuji is trying to say to him, and even after this, he doesn't feel anything. Sukuna explains that it's like how Yuji had accepted the decline of Sendai City. Yuji realizes that he wasn't able to get through to Sukuna, as Sukuna realizes that Yuji is pitying him. He asks if Yuji is trying to show him sympathy, as we are then shown a statue of Buddha taking on the form of Sukuna. Yuji's eyes then suddenly turn hostile as he declares, "That's right, Sukuna, I have the ability to kill you. Release Fushiguro. If you come back to me, I will spare your life." Sukuna is enraged as Yuji threatens him, as Sukuna says that he won't just settle for slicing him into pieces, but he's going to kill everyone right in front of his eyes so that he loses absolutely everything that holds value to him. So there's no Jujutsu Kaisen next week, as chapter 265 ends with the reveal that Yuji's domain expansion has the ability to kill Sukuna. Some people are joking that Yuji's domain is called Benevolent Shrine, as for the entirety of this chapter he was desperately trying for Sukuna to feel some semblance of value for the lives of others. But no matter what Yuji did, no matter how many memories he had shown to Sukuna and the deep personal attachment that is linked to them, Sukuna had felt nothing. So Yuji's domain allows him to talk to his opponent, transporting them to several different locations wherever Yuji chooses, with possibly the condition of the domain expansion being that his opponent needs to change their mind, and if they don't change their mind, then Yuji has the ability to kill his opponent. This is definitely a very fascinating concept and an intriguing domain expansion. Until the chapter officially releases, it's hard to really visualize everything, but for now we've reached the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What do you guys think about the leaks for chapter 265 of Jujutsu Kaisen? What are your thoughts about Yuji's domain expansion? Were you a fan of the yap session that happened here? Or were you guys really bored with Yuji's attempt of Talk no Jutsu? I'd love to know all of your thoughts, so definitely continue the discussion in the comments. And lastly, thanks for making it to the end of this one, and I cannot wait to see you in my next Jujutsu Kaisen video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.